Introduce you to our second in the series of talks that we're sponsoring here at New College. We invite notable figures in the field of yachting to our area and let them share their thoughts with you. This is sponsored by the New College Sailing Club and the New College Foundation boat donation program that's headed up by Tom Mayers over there. We thought it would be a good idea if we expose the New College community to sailing activities and try to promote some increased interest in our local area as well as the Sarasota community. So in this community, we're fortunate to have among us some notable distinguished figures in the field of yachting, yacht design, boat building, and so forth. And we thought we would provide them with the opportunity to come here and share their experiences and thoughts with you all and promote the New College waterfront program as well as the boat donation program, because it has been underutilized up until this point. We're trying to make some ground against that. So next year we're going to continue this series and invite the community as well, and some of the other notable figures in the area that also have made national and international contributions to the development of yachting from our area. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Charlie Morgan. He was the founder of Morgan Yachts Corporation in St. Petersburg. He's been a national and international sailing competitor, and a sailmaker. He's a yacht designer and a boat builder, and he's a good speaker. So let's welcome Charlie Morgan.
Thank you, Al, and it's nice to be here again. It's my second time down here at college talking on boating topics. And I want to introduce my wife, Maureen. And I think many of you know Tom Mayers, my illegitimate brother, I think. It seems like he's either sailed on a competitor or with me on something somewhere along ever since I can remember him showing up. Let me tell you what we're going to do today. First of all, I want to ask, how many of you are students here at Dr. Al?
Raise your hands, you guys.
Yeah.
I see one.
Well, since we don't have a lot of students, then I'm going to ask any of you that want to ask questions later, do it after we're through, because we got a couple of filming activities going on here, and they will be time-oriented because of the length of their batteries and or the film. I don't know which, but very definitely constrained. But you're welcome to ask questions. I hope you will ask questions. There's a lot of things that we're going to cover. And I'll ask you to be forgiving of me for introducing a lot of very personal and or subjective content here today, owing to the fact that it's just all out of my life. And back to the students again, I was hoping to let you see how the dreams of a child, a young man, can turn into the realities along a lot of fronts in the world of competition, in the world of technical subjects, and the world of business, and you know, their dreams do come true, and that's one thing I wanted to have making the point of for so many of the young folks. I see a lot of my age group out here. Anyhow, this is done first with some things that led up through my youth to the time that I became competitive in ocean racing and sailing, the time before we founded Morgan Yacht Corporation. Once we get through that, then we will come to the place where a little bit of technology gets into the picture. I brought to show to you today one of the models that I'm just going to refer to for a moment here now. This is a model that was tested in 1960, I would say 67, no, yes, about 67, 68. It's the actual model. It was varnished shellac, is what you did in those days, and used to have a strip of sand put down here. You wouldn't believe that. But anyhow, this was one of the test models used at the Hoboken Institute of Technology where we were doing most of the tank testing work in those days. There was a larger tank, the David Taylor tank, which was utilized for government work, but it was before we had computers, mainframes getting into the picture, and certainly no high-speed supercomputers that would take us through many, many iterations of calculations and studies in order to find the very small difference in performance that was necessary to give you an edge in racing. This, of course, is an America's Cup model, 12 meter, but we were doing that for ocean racers as well. Nowadays, we have a new science. It's an extrapolation of the world of aeronautical engineering and aeronautical sciences that take all of these things into consideration in programs which are called computational fluid dynamic programs that, laughingly to me at least, they run through them and run through them and run through them and select 2 or 3 candidates that they will now build a model of and test at a much larger scale. I think the latest models have been run at around 40 feet or a little over compared to this. And that was to deal with the errors and scale effect problems associated with tank testing. This method of tank testing was established before World War II, in about 33, 34, by Dr. Kenneth Davidson at Hoboken Institute of Technology, and it was the breakthrough that permitted us to study yacht forms and ship forms much more effectively, basically through revisiting the methods that were being used by the aeronautical sciences and at the various wind tunnels around the world. Anyhow, now it's all done in a flash and many, many times over. The last yacht that I designed was the 36th, before they cut the metal for her. It was the 36th iteration done in the computer where you could make your changes and hit the special key, and all the calculations would flood the screen, and you could sit there and mull over those for as long as you cared. Anyhow, we're going to talk about some of the tank testing work and show the models being towed in the tank. And then we're going to show a yacht that we built in St. Petersburg called Heritage, a 12 meter that we built to campaign for the selection to defend the America's Cup in 1970. One of the things that's important about this is to show, particularly those of you with engineering inclinations and you students of engineering and the sciences, how much of your own bathwater you can drink before you realize it's putrid. We came so close to losing the America's Cup long before we did. And it had to do with a mindset on one hand, and I'm going to talk about those things as we go along. Then, anyhow, there's some photography that we're showing about the construction of Heritage, where we utilized some things that were, Heritage was defeated badly, as was Valiant, my dear friend Olin Stevens' project for that year, creation, and the modified Intrepid, which was questionably faster, that Chance had modified, but these boats were slow. And we realized it on the race course because we had a grand old lady from 1958 that had been tuned up, revitalized a bit, that was kicking us around the race course, and that was Weatherly, that was designed by my old friend Phil Rhodes, and had won the America's Cup in 1962, the year that I first got involved in 12 meters as a sailmaker too, and cockpit tactician and sail manager for Columbia, again, which we lost. But anyhow, And we wind up with the tail end of the things with some of the latest activities that I've been involved in, just for a little. Now, is somebody going to deal with the lights?
Good night, go. Went to sleep.
Went to the sleep
He
mode.
went to sleep.
Okay, lights. Find a mission switch here. Okay, well, that is a picture of me when I was 14 years old, and just dreaming about sailing. It was during the World War, the Great Patriotic War, and I did do some sailing. There were not many boats on Tampa Bay in those days, and if you saw a sail, you knew instantly who it was. But anyhow, that's where it all began for me. I had, I think I've got the right one here. This was one of my earliest sailboats, a little slam gunner rig, dory type thing that I paid $35 for, the money I made at the grocery store. And these are some of my sailing pals. It's interesting how it goes. There's a man on the left, Bruce Goodwell. I knew from the 4th grade, and we grew up as chums. I still see him regularly, and he became my business partner. And over on the right are some of the group I was in. We were in the last year of high school when the second Havana race from St. Petersburg to Havana occurred, and our dear old maid assistant principal thought it was culturally expanding to let us take time off if our grades were up, to take time off and go to a foreign country. So off we sailed to Havana. And I was going over with Al how as a student I just could not keep my mind off of the things. These are little scratches that we found when going through the archives. My notes and work that I was probably supposed to be studying English, and you'll forgive me, this is what I was doing. I should have been learning to speak better. Anyhow, it's the type of thing that kept filling my mind, and I was well on my way. My mother and everybody in my family thought I was going to become an aeronautical engineer. And what do you know, here I am designing small sailboats all the time. Again, these are the shapes and forms that kept my mind going, again, while I was a student. In 1947, that first year that I went down to Havana, I found these instruments offered for sale in an engineering store, engineering supply house, near the docks where our boats were tied in the days that we were waiting to sail off to Varadero for the other race. And I had to borrow some more money because I didn't have enough money left to the funds I had. So my captain of the boat, Redbird, said, "Sure, Charlie." And those I still have to this day. I retired the slide rule to that shadow box because we now do it all on computers. This on the left is my old friend Charles Hunt.